we need to understand that this is a different time, and we're having problems here. We need to reform.
What problems are you talking about?
My culture is a very dominant culture, and it's imposing and it's causing problems. If you don't do something about it, you're going to have taco trucks every corner.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I have to let Adriano in here.
I don't know.
I don't even know what that means, and I'm almost afraid to ask.
I'm offended.
I'll tell you what that means. The Spanish never conquered Mexico. We are a culture that we have a lot of good things that we bring to the United States, but we also have problems. And you guys are going nuts over something that there's a 10th step to this problem, and you guys are already talking about the 10th step. We haven't even started walking this path.
This is the Kevin Fox Show on Power Talk 1360 and 1280.
Kevin Fox, Power Talk 1360, 1280. Once again in Sacramento at the Unite America First rally. A lot of speakers today. It's very hot, but we're staying in the shade, staying cool. I want you guys to meet Marco Gutierrez. Marco, tell me first of all your story. You created this group called Latinos for Trump.
Yeah, I'm a co-founder, but I sort of inherited it because when I went on MSNBC and I said taco trucks on every corner, there was so much media pressure that the campaign asked me to just not do anything for like a week. And then I continued to speak, but basically the campaign sort of fired me.
This is that famous comment heard around the world with the taco truck comment, and then of course the left-led mainstream media picked it up, and then suddenly you, a Latino, you must be racist.
Exactly. Yes, I'm a vendido, which is a sellout. Yeah, I have a unique understanding of my community because I was born and raised in Mexico. And what I try to illustrate with that is say if you don't do something about it, there's going to be taco trucks on every corner, is that free market commerce is what prevails in a sick economy. And we are the kings of flea market economy. You go to Mexico, everybody sells something on the corner here, even here. But the problem with that is that it can't be regulated. And it hurts other businesses. So I wasn't being racist by race, but I was criticizing that for some reason we tend to take the easy road rather than do a regular restaurant.
So it's economics. I mean, it's simply economics, and it's an unfair advantage, even though they're not, those taco trucks may not be selling as much product as, say, some McDonald's, but they certainly don't have to abide by all of the labor regulations, the Board of Health regulations, and all those things that go along in a rule of law society, right?
Exactly. And yeah, if Anthony Bourdain actually used my comments and on his premiere, he said, this stupid guy said taco trucks on every corner. He actually went to LA to study the taco trucks. And he went to New York and he pushed for more permits for vendors.
Street vendors, right?
Vendors. And that hurt the regular business, what they call the mortar establishment.
Brick and mortar. So what I think I just heard you said is some famous, I want to call him Hollywood, but he's not, he's New York. He's a famous chef. Over your comment about a taco truck on every corner, which we've established is not racist, is purely about economics and the rule of law and regulation. He took that, decided to ultimately make a social cause out of it, took it back to his city, right? He took California culture, took it back to his city, advocated for that, and then caused problems for tax-paying business owners, right?
Exactly. And then also he tried to go, and he got, Mr. Trejo, the machete guy, he sells tacos. So if you go and see the premiere, Trejo says, taco trucks on every corner. Like, they're making fun of it. But in a way, Anthony Bourdain is race baiting and trying to say, hey, these guys are messing up with you guys. But that's really not what I was saying.
Well, I mean, everybody loves tacos. I love tacos. We're in California. California has a rich and proud Latino background. We have a rich and proud Hispanic history. We share that as Californians. There's no denying it's in our architecture. It's in our language. It's a part of our fabric as Californians. And that's what makes us different than the rest of the country. Now, other states share that as well. Texas has it, but Texas culture is a little bit different than California. Arizona has it as well. You follow what I'm saying? But it's not shared as Minnesota. Why? Because Minnesota has a Swedish and a Nordic background, right? So we should celebrate that as Californians. But you stood up and created a group, co-founded a group, Latinos for Trump, around the time of the election.
Exactly.
And you took a big hit for that, for standing up for, well, your constitutional rights, your First Amendment rights, and you took a big hit.
There was news vans outside my house for three days, and the campaign had told me not to speak to them. So then I had to speak to them because I needed to go out and buy groceries. So and I opened the door. The Univision guy just came, and the national guy, and they were just trying to use it to hit Donald Trump. They investigated everything, public records, everything that I had done. I'm a businessman, so I filed bankruptcy. So they wanted to connect that Donald Trump followers were not. We're crooked business owners and things like that.
So that's why you aligned with Donald Trump, because they perceive Donald Trump as a corrupt businessman because he's bankrupt, and they won't show his tax records and all of these things that the media tried to portray. They projected that on you and tried to tear you down over a comment that you made about economics and commerce and regulation and unfairness in that. And they labeled you a racist and just ultimately tried to create a bunch of fake news around you.
Yeah. And right now, my dynamics in my life have totally changed because I am literally known in Mexico and here as the taco truck man and the guy that doesn't like immigrants.
You'd think, I don't know, it's America, you'd think like a place like Taco Bell would hire you to be a spokesman and detain from that, but I don't know, if they did, would you take that? Would you take that gig?
You know what, I would. I'm actually trying to write a book. Definitely, there's a lot of material there.
I tell you, if I had a Mexican restaurant, I would certainly hire you. Don't go to the truck, come here, and this is the guy to tell you. But I want to talk about your story a little bit because you are a legal immigrant here. You came to the United States from Mexico. Tell me about the difference between being in Mexico and your time here in the United States, and how business is conducted.
Well, Mexico is definitely. It's like another planet, really, because they keep it really. It's a third world. It's a country underdeveloped country. So I heard about the United States when I was a kid. Anything that was made in America was great. Whatever, a shirt, a toy. I saw a couple movies that my mom took back, Coming to America and The Goonies, without subtitles. And I would watch those movies again and again, probably 1,000 times, trying to figure out what they said. And later on, I got to watch the movies again and understand. You look at the United States as a beacon of hope, a beacon of abundance, a beacon of opportunity. So that's what we come here with, and a lot of people they forget that. They forget that they came to be recipients of the American dream, and they trade that for just being in this subculture environment in which they live, where they cash the check at the Mexican market. They go to church in Spanish. There's no need for them to integrate into the culture. They say that one thing is to be bilingual, another thing is to be bicultural, and another thing is to be bisexual.
Okay.
What I mean by that is that there's a lot of people that have learned the language, but they, like Jorge Ramos, but they have not done what I'm doing here. Like, they will never know what it feels to be with American people, real people, and how they live and how they perceive what's happening around them. This is a guy that's up there in his building. He is trying to be a activist, but he's not going to rallies like this for Hispanics. I mean, he's a very confused journalist, I think.
Do you think he's missing out and not getting the American experience?
I think he is missing out. I think he is, because he looks bad, really. I mean, I know that he wants to walk both sides of the street, but really you can't. He needs to get out of that mentality that people, they love our dollars, but they don't like the country, It's like people that say everybody loves carnitas, but nobody likes the pig.
It's a good point. Do you think that there's some political, maybe even some cultural clout in keeping a separation? Keeping people proud of hanging on to their whether it be Mexican or El Salvadorian or Guatemalan culture and that heritage, and trying to keep them separate from what's happening in America. Do you think that some of those people fear allowing people to Americanize and they intentionally keep them separate?
Yeah, I think, I believe that the second source of income for Mexico is the money that people from here send over there. And the only way that these people are going to be productive in that environment is by not being committed to this country, because they're always dreaming with their little house they're building down there, always with the hopes of coming back. And I think that when you become a citizen, the chances that you are going to, how can I say, what's that word? Win out, I guess, or slowly emancipate from your country of origin.
So if they become American and they experience that American experience, and then they develop that American dream that a lot of people say is lost, odds are they will give up on their home nationality. That's the big fear. And those that support that, south of the border, that support undocumented here and people to continue to cross the border, they really rely on the income that's shipped back south, right?
It's a big industry, yes. Millions of dollars.
Marco, I appreciate your time today, sir. Great speech, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, proud to know you, man.
Thank you, man.
It's Kevin Fox Show, Power Talk 1360, 1280. Got more speakers here.
You guys haven't taken a selfie with him or spoke to him, come see him. Come talk to him, find out what he's about for sure. So, the moment you guys, a lot of you all been waiting for, bass Stickman, the man, the myth, the legend. Let's give it up for Kyle Chapman!
Hey, Kevin. Pleasure to meet you.
This is Kevin Fox, Power Talk 1360, 1280. We're here in Sacramento at the Unite America First rally. I'm with a pretty famous guy, Kyle Chapman, also known as Bass Stickman. Kyle, I've talked to a few other folks today. This rally really has a whole different atmosphere because no Antifa. No Black Antifa. Bloc. I don't know. You've recently kind of traveled across the country, been to other states. I'm following you on social media, watching your live feeds. Have we made that turning point? The reason I'm asking you is because, you're that iconic meme figure in this movement that, in that moment of time in Berkeley, that really turned the corner for rallies like this.
Yeah, I don't think we have passed... I don't think we have passed the day or age of Antifa or leftist violence. That is not behind us by any means. We just, New Haven, Connecticut, Some Proud Boys just showed up there today. There was supposed to be a rally. A good friend of mine, Augustus Invictus, was supposed to speak. 250 Antifa and Black Lives Matter were already there. When people started showing up, they attacked the Proud Boys physically, threw rocks at them, punched them in the face, threw paint, balloons full of paint on them. The cops did nothing, and then the cops, instead of arresting Antifa, told the Proud Boys and the people assembling there for the rally that they had to leave or they would be arrested for inciting a riot.
No, I want to ask you about the cops, because it's my understanding that really was the reason that you showed up in Berkeley with your shield and your stick, that iconic, once again, that iconic meme figure. You showed up in Berkeley because the cops stood down.
Yeah, so the cops stood down during the Milo Yiannopoulos riots. And, I've been a political junkie for most of my life. I know what time it is in these liberal enclaves. I know that they receive stand-down orders from the liberal mayor and the liberal police chief. So that's why I showed up at the first Battle of Berkeley. As soon as I saw that go up, there was going to be a pro-Trump event in Berkeley. I knew it was going to be violent, and I knew someone was going to have to be there to stand up to these domestic terrorists.
So you still think that are they regrouping in California?
Oh, yeah, what they're doing is they're picking their battles. They can't handle any more defeats. The second Battle of Berkeley was a crushing defeat for them, and it inspired patriots all over the United States and around the world to stand up to these leftist thugs, that they can win, that they're not as tough as they look with their black mask on, that if you punch them, they will bleed just like anyone else. So another second Battle of Berkeley would be one of the most powerful pieces of propaganda that our movement could possibly have. Would be a scene of hundreds of patriots beating the hell out of hundreds of domestic terrorist Antifa that showed up to disrupt the event. They don't want that to happen again. So what they're doing is they're hedging their bets and attacking events that they know they can win at. That's what happened in New Haven, Connecticut.
They're taking another tactic. The buzz term now that the media even has picked up on because of CNN is doxing. Many people don't know about this, but Antifa's been practicing doxing on patriots and patriot groups like the Alt-Knights and the Proud Boys for a long time now.
Yeah, I have several members of my group have lost their jobs. Other people have had their sales and their income cut in half because they've lost business. Doxing is something they've been doing a long time. There's a website called It's Going Down. It is an Antifa website. They have people that work full-time on doxing you. They get clear pictures of your face, and then what they do is there's facial recognition programs you can use over your iPhone or your computer with Facebook, and they'll take that picture and it will match it to your Facebook profile picture. So my suggestion to people is you'll want to pull, if you have a clear profile picture and you want to be involved in this movement, you don't want to get doxxed, replace that with something else. Put a picture of President Trump up there or the American flag, because that's one of the main ways they're finding out who people are.
So I'm watching what's going on at the G20. It seems to me, my experience, now I don't have as clearly as much experience at these rallies that you do, especially confronting Antifa, but Antifa in Europe, like in Hamburg, a little bit different than what's going on here. They seem to be very, very violent over there. Last night, I don't know if you're aware, but last night, Tim Pool, Lauren Southern were live reporters, state reporters were live tweeting their locations, and several other reporters who were just seen with them got beat up. Do you think
Were they in Hamburg?
Yeah, they were in Hamburg. Do you think that Antifa here in the United States could sort of take on the tactics of their European cousins?
Absolutely. Antifa here in the United States is in direct contact with Antifa in Europe. They are communicating together. They are working together. They are funded by the same people, George Soros, the Ford Foundation, groups like BAM, By Any Means Necessary. These guys have presences on college campus. You have Antifa meetings on college campus that are anti-fascist meetings that are sanctioned by the school. They are allowing domestic terrorists to assemble on school grounds. By Any Means Necessary is a domestic terrorist organization. So, yeah, we are going to see more violence here. As we approach the midterm elections and most certainly the 2020 elections, the violence is going to increase. If Trump is for real, and I think he is, a second-term Trump is the scariest thing the globalists could ever imagine. because the president is most dangerous in their second term. That's when he's going to drain the swamp. They do not want to let that happen. They are going to pull out all the stops before 2020 to try to bring Trump down. I promise you, we are going to see massive unrest and violence on the streets of America by the time we hit 2020.
We can only pray that that doesn't happen, and somebody wants to have a dialogue and at least talk things out. But that being said, I just want to say, man, I really appreciate what you did at Berkeley, standing up to them and allowing people to have free speech. You inspired a lot of patriots. I know that you know this. My last question to you, I guess, is that philosophical question. I read an article, I think it was the New York Times, where they listed you, I'm sure you've read this, amongst all of the memes in this movement, in this meme war, and you have reached kind of God status in that.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I wasn't an internet guy. Outside of just like researching stuff, I didn't participate in social media or the internet culture. So when I got out of jail after the first Battle of Berkeley and had become base Stickman, the alt-night, I didn't even know what a meme was. So I guess it's kind of cool, but it doesn't really mean as much to me as it might to somebody else, because it's all new to me, and memes, now that I understand the importance of memes and that they kind of like help Trump win the election, I think it's great. And if people are going to use my memes to inspire other people to stand up against domestic terrorists and leftist violence, then all the power to them. You know, I think it's great.
Well, you've solidified your image in pop culture. You should be well aware of that, my friend. So I appreciate you being here. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good talking to you. Hey.
The Kevin Fox Show on Power Talk 1360 and 1280.
Right?
Exactly. And yeah, if Anthony Bourdain actually used my comments and on his premiere, he said, this stupid guy said taco trucks on every corner. He actually went to LA to study the taco trucks. And he went to New York, and he pushed for more permits for vendors.
Street vendors, right?
Vendors. And that hurt the regular business, what they call the mortar establishment.
Brick and mortar. So what I think I just heard you said is some famous, I want to call him Hollywood, but he's not, he's New York. He's a famous chef. Over your comment about a taco truck on every corner, which we've established is not racist, is purely about economic.
And then I continued to speak, but basically the campaign sort of fired me.
This is that famous comment heard around the world with the taco truck comment, and then of course the left-led mainstream media picked it up, and then suddenly you, a Latino, you must be racist.
Exactly. Yes, I'm a vendido, which is a sellout. Yeah, I have a unique understanding of my community because I was born and raised in Mexico. And what I try to illustrate with that is say, if you don't do something about it, there's going to be taco trucks on every corner, is that free market commerce is what prevails in a sick economy. And we are.
This is the Kevin Fox Show on Power Talk 1360 and 1280.
Kevin Fox, Power Talk 1360, 1280. Once again in Sacramento at the Unite America First rally. A lot of speakers today. It's very hot, but we're staying in the shade, staying cool. I want you guys to meet Marco Gutierrez. Marco, tell me first of all your story. You created this group called Latinos for Trump.
Yeah, I'm a co-founder, but I sort of inherited it because when I went on MSNBC and I said taco trucks on every corner, there was so much media pressure that the campaign asked me to just not do anything for like a week. They're the kings of flea market economy. You go to Mexico, everybody sells something on the corner here, even here. But the problem with that is that it can't be regulated. And it hurts other businesses. So I wasn't being racist by race, but I was criticizing that for some reason we tend to take the easy road rather than do a regular restaurant.
So it's economics. I mean, it's simply economics, and it's an unfair advantage, even though they're not, those taco trucks may not be selling as much product as, say, some McDonald's, but they certainly don't have to abide by all of the labor regulations, the Board of Health regulations, and all those things that go along in a rule of law society.
We need to understand that this is a different time, and we're having problems here. We need
What
to
problems?
reform.
What problems are you talking about?
My culture is a very dominant culture, and it's imposing and it's causing problems. If you don't do something about it, you're going to have taco trucks every corner.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I have to let Adriano in here.
I don't know.
I don't even know what that means, and I'm almost afraid to ask.
I'm offended.
I'll tell you what that means. The Spanish never conquered Mexico. We are a culture that we have a lot of good things that we bring to the United States, but we also have problems. And you guys are going nuts over something that there's a 10th step to this problem, and you guys are already talking about the 10th step. We haven't even started walking this path.